Welcome to the Mortgage Kitchen. On this episode, we're going to make pasta from scratch. We're going to search through some ingredients, and I'm going to tell you the difference between some flours, because what goes into pasta, believe it or not, it makes a difference on the ingredients that you put in there. And secondly, we're going to talk about fixed interest rates versus variable interest rates. And like a mortgage, depends what's inside a mortgage, really depends on the type of mortgage. So join me today in making some pasta and knowing the difference between fixed and variable interest rates. Making pasta from scratch is actually pretty easy. There's only two ingredients, eggs and flour. But it really matters the type of flour that you use in making pasta. And it really matters the type of flour you use if you have someone in your life that's sensitive to gluten. And that's part of the reason why I make pasta from scratch. Pretty easy to just go buy a box of really high grade pasta for about $5, put it in the water, boil it, and off you go. But if you have sensitivities to gluten, that's difficult. So I have an Italian background, so I grew up with Sunday pasta, but people in my family are sensitive to gluten. And I lost my Sunday pastas for a while until I learned how to do this. So we're gonna go on an adventure. We're gonna pick the right flour to make pasta from scratch. And everyone in your family can eat it. So let's go. First of all flour is not created equal, okay? You know, Italians, they always say everything in Italy is better. There's some truth to that. Everything in Italy is better. But one of the things when it comes to wheat production in North America versus Europe, there's some laws in Europe that don't allow certain chemicals in the growing of wheat, but also in the processing of wheat. So when you buy a flour that is in Canada or United States, the process of growing that wheat, they've used chemicals in the water, they've used chemicals on the land. Basically, one of the chemicals is Roundup, it's glyphosate. And that makes its way through into the flour when you're cooking. And some people, when they can eat pasta in Europe, and they can't eat it in Canada, they think it's because there's a gluten intolerance. And it really isn't. It's that your system can't handle the poison, can't handle the Roundup. So if you have people that can eat pasta in Europe and they can't eat here, what's the difference? It's what's in the wheat. So that's why at home, I go to great lengths to buy a wheat that's been manufactured in Europe that doesn't have the chemical used in processing the wheat or the flour. So that's the key reason why I can still have Sunday dinners with pasta with people who are sensitive. Now, this is not for all people. Some people are truly gluten-free, and even though the flour that I'm choosing has gluten in it, they can't eat it. So you might have to go to a gluten-free flour. But also with gluten-free flours, there's a lot of ingredients to gluten-free products which people are sensitive to. So you got to experiment a little bit, but I found that this particular flour that I'm using is very low in gluten. And another thing about the flour that I'm choosing, it's from an ancient grain. It's not been genetically modified. The actual grain itself is 10,000 years old. Great story about this company. Go look them up online. That's my 2-minute lesson on flour. So let's keep going. So here we are at the local Fortino's. We're not going to buy any of these box pastas. We're going to make it from scratch. So let's get started making it from scratch. So first thing I do is I get a scale and I put a bowl and I'm going to zero out the scale. So that means that takes away the weight of the bowl. First, I'm going to measure eggs. And the ratio to eggs to flour is 2-to-1. So these eggs weigh 260 grams. Now I'm going to zero out the bowl for flour. So if I did 260 grams of eggs, I need 520 grams of flour. So we're going to measure that out. I have my 520 grams of flour. So I take that and I'm going to put it in my mixing bowl. Now, old school, you do it on the counter, but I found it's a big mess. So I make a little volcano, put all my eggs in the middle, and then I start to incorporate and mix those eggs and incorporate the flour into my mix. Again, hardcore, we do it right on the counter, but it tends to go all over the place, so I don't bother doing it there. So I keep doing that, and keep mixing that around until it comes to like a flaky pastry type of look. It looks like this. Then I put it on the counter and I start to work the flour by hand. So I need that for a little bit until it becomes a ball like that, okay? Then I set it aside, I wrap it in saran wrap, put it on the side. And by the way, these are the flours that I tend to use. The last flour is my go-to flour. That is an ancient grain, low gluten flour that doesn't hurt many people. And this is my Christmas present from my wife. This is my pasta maker. This attaches to our KitchenAid mixer, and it is a pasta maker where you put it on top, plug it into the KitchenAid. I could do old school rolling pin. I haven't mastered that yet, so I stick with the pasta maker. We stick our dough on the top, turn the KitchenAid mixer on, and the pasta comes out the other end with this nice little slicing tool. And as you can see, I've been doing this for the last little bit, and I throw it on the counter here and I let that dry for a couple hours. Then I cook it. Now, when you make homemade pasta, it cooks really fast. Like 2 minutes. Serve it with some homemade sauce, and there you go. So thank you for watching this month's The Mortgage Kitchen. So in this one, I talked about how to make some pasta. And in pasta, there's really only 2 ingredients, egg and flour. But the type of flour that you use really makes the pasta. So if you use imported flour or gluten-free flour or an ancient grain flour, it really depends on the person eating it. Sometimes people are sensitive, they can't eat regular flour and they need gluten-free, and it's all a matter of personal preference when eating. So today's lesson is about fixed versus variable rate mortgages. Now there's a lot to them and they're different and they do different things. But what I'm going to tell you about this, first of all, reach out to a mortgage center agent today, come to our website over here and have this conversation. But at a very high level, just like picking out flour, it really depends the type of person you are. You know, personally, I have a rental property. I don't like variable. I do not like interest rates going up and down. And you know what? I get rent and I want rent is the same every single month. So I want my interest rate the same every month. I know that over the long term, variable rates, actually you pay less on a mortgage historically over time. But for me to sleep at night, I like fixed. That's who I am, right? Just like the flour and the pasta. Really depends on who you are, okay? Pick what's right for you. But before you make the decision, don't do it alone. Reach out to your mortgage center agent today in your local markets. Again, come to our website, have a conversation. We got a lot of Italians too, so you can talk about pasta and pasta sauce. But if you really want to know the difference on what is right for you versus fixed versus variable, reach out to us today. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Off to the next one.